Now, this is without even knowing I was going to be home in 2 years. And what I wrote down was, 1, be a productive citizen. 2, reconnect with my kids. 3, already have a place to be at once I get out. 4, make sure I have a bank account and have one for all my kids.
You know, I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm trying not to cry, but I'm on the YouTube channel, so I can cry on the YouTube channel. Rise from the ashes, everywhere we go, our light be flashing. 'Cause you're alive, yes, you're alive. You can rise as you're dusting off the ashes. Rise from the ashes, so everywhere that we go, our light be flashing. 'Cause you're alive, yes, you're alive. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, Meet Me at the Round Table. This is the overflow that I was talking about that you can come and get. We were talking with Eonté Davidson about his experience and his come up from prison life and the success that he has gained. Well, in the first part, we were talking about what he had to endure and how he got where he was in his low place. And so I had to have you come and join me here at the YouTube channel so that we could hear the upside of this story. And so, although we weren't able to get in every aspect of what happened to you in prison and what happened, and what you saw, what you experienced, what was going on around you, we did get that you had a conscious decision in your mind. You were going to do this time, and you were getting out of here, and you were not coming back.
Yes, ma'am.
You had a made-up mind.
Definitely.
And so, let's go there. Let's turn this thing up now. Had you found Christ by now? Are you?
Actually, I knew Christ since I was a kid, so there was nothing new to me there. Mm-hmm. I strayed away.
You were wayward.
Yeah, I strayed away. Right. I went into my own route.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say on that is, it's not about what you did when you was younger, what you did when you was little, even what landed you in prison.
Right.
It's about your mindset. It's about starting back over, because that's what everything is. Even with people who are still on the streets who never went to jail,
right,
never went to prison.
Right.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
And for me, my mindset flipped when I had that time sitting on my chest. And if I didn't have the people around me, even in prison,
right,
to give me the conscious thought of, it gets better than this,
right,
I probably would still be masterminding, honestly, trying to figure out another way to do wrong the right way.
Right.
How's that?
Slicker,
I don't know.
To be slicker. Slicker.
No, that's what they say in prison,
right,
exactly.
Right.
But there is no right way to do wrong.
It is not.
None.
And so you had to come up with the mind to just don't want to do wrong.
Exactly.
I want to do right.
Exactly, because coming out, you already know, one, like myself, I had, at that time, 6 more years to be on probation. No, let me rephrase that. 6 more years to be on parole.
Right.
And with that, when they sent me out, I was still on lockdown because I had on an ankle bracelet. If that wasn't enough to make you want to be like, whoa, let me stay hidden.
So you're in a halfway house at this time, right?
Yes. Well, at that time, once I was in a transitional center, I didn't have monitors or anything yet.
Right.
But the guards are always just a breath away.
That's right.
So at any moment, if somebody calls and say you did something wrong, they come to get you.
Wow.
So you can get put right back in prison just like that.
Right.
And so for me, I allowed everyone else who said I wasn't going to amount to nothing be my trigger.
Right.
Be my proof that I am going to make it.
Fuel you.
Yes, definitely.
That's right.
And so my first initial job when I was in a transitional center it's called erosion control. I was out, doing hard labor, which I used to love doing.
Right.
But at a certain point, it was some people out there on the job who were making it hard for us as, unfortunately, still calling us inmates when we're trying to transition.
Right.
And in doing so, they were doing things to trigger us. And so I said, it's best for me to go ahead and go back to the center, get a different job, and be productive before I get sent back to prison for something I didn't do.
Right.
In doing so, the chief who was there asked me twice, do you think you're making the right decision? I said, yes. I said, because one thing, God is not going to make me into something that I'm not.
Right.
He has a plan for me, and I believe his plan.
Right.
She said, well, you know you have to have a job within 72 hours, right? I said, I trust him.
Right.
I trust him.
Exactly.
And so in doing that, I went and put 2 applications in. And people ask me, you only going to put 2 in? That's how I got faith. I got faith. And everybody's out there putting in applications all over the world.
Right.
And then they see me go out there. I put 2 applications in. One at McDonald's and one at a local barbecue spot that they have up there.
Right.
And I said, I talked to both of them, sat down, and actually was about to get hired at the local barbecue spot.
Right.
But I didn't take that one because it was not a franchise. The reason why I say that, I knew I wasn't going to be living in LaGrange.
That lets me know that you were smart and thinking way before,
yes, definitely.
ahead of your current situation. You already had a mindset that I need to be with a job that could take me anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I did was I was sitting in my room. Actually, I wrote it down while I was in prison before I went to the halfway house. I had a yellow notepad. And I wrote down the things I'm going to achieve within 2 years.
Right.
Now, this is without even knowing I was going to be home in 2 years. And what I wrote down was, 1, be a productive citizen. 2, reconnect with my kids. 3, already have a place to be at once I get out. 4, make sure I have a bank account and have one for all my kids.
I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm trying not to cry, but I'm on the YouTube channel, so I can cry on my YouTube channel. But it just seemed like to me, like in order for you to beat the system, you have to have a change of mind.
You have to.
You cannot have this feeling sorry for yourself type attitude. Even if you were in the wrong, you can't go into this oh me, oh my state. You have to start a building process in your mind of achieving.
I mean, the old adage is misery loves company.
Yeah.
Anytime you jump on a wagon of woe is me,
Yeah.
you only have 1 million people jump down there with you.
It's a heavy train.
Yes.
Because everybody wants to ride that one.
Exactly.
But that's why I find it an honor to talk to you because, and not that there's not many like you out there, because there are many of you like you out there that are doing just what you did, which is, stop making excuses, because there's, like you said, all of the same odds that are against all of the others are against you.
Yes, ma'am.
The difference is how you approach it.
Definitely.
And so first thing you did was write it down.
Exactly.
You got to have a plan.
Oh, yeah, I had to go back to the word.
It says write it down, make
it
plain.
plain. Because one thing about it, the vision that is finally written,
Right,
as the word says, is for an appointed time.
right.
Although I know those things weren't going to be accomplished while I was in the cell, eventually it was going to be taken up
Right.
and run with.
Right.
And if all those things couldn't be accomplished by myself, I had someone in my network who was going to help me get it done.
Right.
And one of the things one of the things I did was talk to one of my counselors there who wasn't even my counselor,
Right.
but she just saw something in me.
Right.
And she knew that I didn't want to be on any of counselor who was always about the Dalai Lama, because we just did not mesh. Her thinking was not my thinking. But I still gave her the respect that she was due because she was authority over me. And in doing so, favor fell in my lap. I say that because just being in the transitional center, officers still are barking at you as if you're still in the barbed wire when you're not. And I had some who...
And do you think it's because they have lack of respect for you as a human being?
Honestly, with some, I think it's because of what they're going through. It's not even about you. And the things they're going through have them feeling like, okay, at home they don't have that authority. So out here they have it. No matter if you're being the best person in there or the worst person in there, they got to bark at somebody who's going to take it. And being inmates, we have to take it.
And could it be also a little bit of that as well, that, because sometimes we have a tendency to judge people based on their accomplishments. And when you find a person that's incarcerated or in the situation that you were in, especially with the statistics that we read earlier, the probability that you'll be back.
Yes.
They don't really have a high regard for who you are as a person.
You're right. And I'm glad you said that. I mean, to the point of when One of my sons had needed something on the outside.
Right.
Now, the whole time I'm down, everything that they needed, I funded myself. I already had money back at home. And one of the officers had called me up to the office. They're like, we need you to come over and sign something. All right, so I go in there. I'm like, trying to figure out what it is. Now, prior to that, I had sent for my 401k to come so I can ration it out to my parents to help my kids. So when I get in there, they look and see what it is. And they look at me like, what you doing with a 401k? What you know about that? And I probably said to them, what do you know about 401k? I said, I've had this since I first ever started working.
Wow.
Then I actually started telling them about portfolios and everything. It's like, then all of them just had that sound like, whoa.
You remember that movie Shawshank Redemption?
Yes, ma'am.
See, same kind of thing. I mean, just because you're guarding the cell doesn't mean you're the smartest cookie in there.
That's it.
And that young man was very, he was an accountant and CPA or something like that, and he actually was helping them with their taxes and all of that, and running the books. Even though he was cooking them, cooking the books, he actually was a very intelligent man and outwitted his warden with his wit. And sometimes I think that human beings, sometimes we have a tendency to look at a person's value based on the situation that they're in at that
That's
moment.
it.
It's a temporary moment, and we give them a lifetime tag.
Oh, yeah.
For a temporary moment, and that also could be the difficulty for those who have re-entering into society to rise up again, is because we have a lifetime tag on them for a temporary situation that they're in.
That's definitely a lot of it. And what I would say with a lot of them who end up coming back, I really don't want to blame it on the environment, but with a lot of them, they have no one. They don't have anyone speaking life into them.
Right. And like you said early on in the show, that if our environment is that of all that we know, which is if it's gang banging, drug and dealing, and all of that other kind of stuff, if that's the environment you're going back to and you have no other
alternatives or even someone to speak differently
to you,
I mean, that's all you know.
You go back to what you know.
That's it.
And then there is why I think that this shows like this and other avenues of information for people to understand that if you don't find it in your circle, you might have to find a different circle.
Man, I tell you, I live by that. I'm going to tell you, I have to give a lot of credit to the Allen brothers, Rudy Allen and Marlon Allen. They actually came to the Transitional Center while I was there and did a program called World of Works. And till this day, if I see either one of them, I was going to ask me one question, and I rattled off like it was yesterday, and they ask you, what is work? And a lot of people think work is, like little stuff you do around here. But to us, we're always going to reply back to them, work is either mental or physical energy that you use in order to achieve a task. And that is what everyone learned that was in that program.
Right.
And for us, we mainly use our mental energy. We apply everything that the Bible taught us. You apply everything that the world has taught you, because you got to put them together.
Right.
Because without one or the other, you're only going to be focused one way.
Right.
But with it, they gave us Christian values, Christian life skills. And in order to build off of that, they gave us a network. Right. They always was tangible with us every single step of the way. There wasn't somebody who dropped in, you'll see them today, the next thing you know, you can never see them again.
Well, I applaud the prison ministry, though there are very successful prison ministries out there, people who are very loyal and dedicated to the prison ministry. And I'll say this, everybody's not called to the prison ministry.
No.
And if they don't go to the prison ministry, God's not going to strike them down. He has people that he has called for works to do, and some of them have been called to work in that area, and so it's okay if you're not called to prison ministry.
No, I definitely agree with you
But
wholeheartedly.
those who have that heart to, or that calling, or that pull to it, those who, because I do know a few of those people, male and female, who do prison ministry and are very good at what they do, and encouraging, giving that word, giving those little nuggets in life.
Oh, yes.
To help build them up, so that they can make these right choices. Because out of all the information that a person can get, if they don't take that information and do something with it,
It's
it's
worthless.
still worthless. Yeah.
You know, I was telling someone the other day about a tree and how it grows,
Right.
and people think it's going to be an overnight thing with you when you
Right.
get out. And I had to tell a lot of them, just like that tree, the last thing you see on it is the fruit.
That's right.
It takes a while.
Takes
It's a
while.
process.
Oh,
Rome
wow.
was not built in a day.
Oh, wow.
And just to look at life itself, you have to understand, coming out of prison, you're going to have challenges. That's your number one thing. You're going to have challenges.
Say it.
And with your mind state, you have to gear your mind up to understand, okay, when I hit this roadblock, what am I going to do?
Right.
Am I going to tuck my tail and run?
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and face it and go ahead and try to drive through it. For myself, I didn't have a choice. I had to drive through everything that came my way.
That's right.
If I would have stopped anywhere, I probably would have been back doing something wrong,
Right.
because that's the easiest thing to do, is
And
cop
then you
out.
have your sons
Yeah,
who are watching you. That's another thing. You've got to do this thing not just for you. Now you've got
Exactly.
your little men that are looking at you for guidance and direction, and to follow in your footsteps to manhood. And so you have that as well.
oh yeah, definitely. And I know they can speak wholeheartedly on it as well. First coming home, I had all my sons by myself.
Right.
Well, I say by myself, I wasn't totally by myself, because
parent.
I had my mother still. She was
Right.
helping me out.
Right.
And they know I would work I'm talking about tirelessly, morning, noon, and night. But I still be up with them to do their homework, still be up with them for any projects they have, any sports. And then in turn, I actually became a coach in doing so.
Wow.
And so that took more time away from me from sleeping.
Wow.
But I told myself, and I know it's a little adage that some people like to say because they got it from the hood, per se, that I'll sleep when I'm dead. And my thing is, just from all the other just motivational things that I listen to and people I watch,
Right.
if I'm sleeping, somebody else is working.
Right.
I know I got to get a certain amount of rest, but I don't need to be laying in the bed too long.
That's right.
If I'm laying in bed too long, I'm not being productive.
That's right.
I need to be up right now to plan, doing something.
Right.
Even to this day, I still, I'll get my recorder. I'm at work writing down certain things. Although I haven't put everything into fruition yet,
Right.
it's for an appointed time.
Exactly.
And I
Well,
pushed that off to my
This
sons.
morning, because this morning I was like straight laying in the bed, like yeah, hugging the pillow. But I'm not feeling good 100%. But I get what you're saying on being busy, taking care of the business.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have time to let the grass grow up under your feet,
Exactly.
so to speak.
As long as you're productive.
Got to be productive. That's what I'm saying. Busy, good.
Yes.
Tell me where you are now, because we strolled from college, working 2 jobs, to in trouble, to in prison, to transition, to now your mindset of turning this thing around, and you've got to turn this ship a whole different direction, and now you're heading in the right direction. Where did you end up? Where are you at?
All right, well, I'm going to give you a small synopsis. I know people hear all the little stories of people going to prison, coming back out, some doing good. My life is truly one of, I lost everything. I say that because when I was in prison, one of my sisters actually was at a house that I had all my stuff in. Lit a candle, went to sleep, burned the whole house down. Everything that I had was in it. So I had no clothes on, nothing left. No memories or anything, so that's why my life is a lot different than what it used to be. I don't take anything for granted, and I don't look at materialistic things as being greater than anything. Right now, I'm in the best place I've been in that I can even think of, honestly. Everything that I thought I lost, I gained back threefold. I have a great connection with all my sons. Even have a beautiful wife, beautiful daughter now, and a bonus son, bonus daughter as well.
Right.
And I am actually, I tell my wife Amitris this, that for my life when I was younger, so I don't know whether to call it a gift or not, but within me, certain things that I vision comes in life. And certain things, even if I try to plot and plan and vision it, if it doesn't come to fruition in my mind or in my dreams,
Right.
it's not going to happen.
Right.
I literally had a deja vu moment a couple of weeks ago at my job. And I told her, I said, babe, I'm finally able to put the faces to the people that I seen in those conference rooms of the dreams I had when I was younger. I mean, I literally saw the exact room, the exact setups, everything, how it was. And I said, if I would have gave up putting in applications for the job I'm at right now, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here.
In upper management.
Yes, ma'am.
At
In the corporate world.
Fortune 500 company in corporate America. Like you said, beautiful wife, family intact.
Yes, ma'am.
Everything's just going the way that you planned. Deacon in the church.
Yes, ma'am.
Loving God.
That's it.
And there's more to come. I know.
Oh, definitely.
There's so much more. Because.
Now, what I will say, because I want anyone to think that, it was an easy road.
It was not.
It took many of restless nights. When I say restless, I mean no sleep.
Because you worked,
taking care of the
you worked
kids.
for McDonald's for how long?
Well, I worked for fast food for 13 years total. McDonald's, 11 and a half of those years.
Right.
Yeah, with the extent of one of those years being in Kentucky. And I also worked for, during the same time, Texas Roadhouse. And
so you was slinging from
I had to make it happen.
That's it.
Didn't have a choice.
That's it. And so there was a lot of wait time.
Oh,
and
definitely.
And minimum sleep.
Minimum. Because back then, I worked 60 miles away from home.
Oh, my goodness. One way?
Yeah, one way. But I did not let anything stop me. And I tell you, without having God in my life, I'd be nowhere. It was one day, I remember I was on Highway 208, which is the middle of nothing. Caught a flat. And I'm like, wow, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere where nobody is. And one car finally came down the road. He was a youth pastor. Helped me get that tire change, helped me get on to work. Now what's crazy is, this same road, I messed up my other car on. I called one of my friends on a whim. Was like, I know I asked a lot of things of you, but right now I really, truly need to get to work so I can keep my job.
Right.
They came from Columbus to Waverly Hall,
wow.
Took me to LaGrange, went back home, and came back that night and picked me back up.
That's a good friend.
That is a friend like no other.
I know he on your Christmas
list. Say that. And I tell people to this day, it wasn't just happenstance.
Right.
It wasn't just luck, as some people like to say. But God placed everybody in my life strategically and for a purpose. And within me, he built a purpose as well. We started doing a lot of prayer groups in prison. Of course, we know same statistics that we had as a kid growing up, where they tell you, look around you. 10% going to die, 10% going to be on drugs, 10% going to get killed. Same statistics when you're in prison. Because everybody's not going to get out and do right.
Right.
And I will tell you, the group that I was in, yes, this same Christian group in prison, them statistics hold true. One of the guys who got out, within a week, they found him belly up in a lake. Another guy who got out, he ended up, I don't want to say he murdered 2 people, prison for life. Out of all the 10 that I used to be in that group with, 1 got out as a minister. I want to say he's up in Philadelphia. 1 is one of our very own, he's an apostle now, wow. Lonnie Boyd. He was my roommate.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And he can attest to the things we went through. And my hat is off to him as well, because I know his street life before prison. Then I know his life in prison.
We actually went to his anniversary. I think it was his first year anniversary of one of his services. Yeah, when he first started his ministry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell anyone, you couldn't have told me that in a million years. Not before we got down to sit and talk, that Lonnie Boyd would be that. And he'll tell you that I was the holy roller in the transitional center. You know, I'd come in, I'd be reading scriptures and everything, I'd be reading my Bible in the room, and he didn't want to hear none of that back then.
Wow.
You know, but he never disrespected me, though. I can honestly say that he never disrespected me at all. And one thing I tell anyone, the word is going to find you.
It will.
The truth is going to be set out to do what it is made to do.
That's exactly.
And it did a work in him.
Amen.
And he came back and told me that himself. That all those nights of me being up in the bed, reading my word, praying, it worked on him. Yes. It worked
Wow,
on
I would have loved to have had him sitting right there.
Never
But
did.
I'll have to have him on the show one
Definitely,
day.
please
Maybe
do.
chat about it.
But through it all, I just want people to understand that without God, you have nothing.
That's right.
And you can try to do so much on your own power, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
I tried, and this is before incarceration.
Right.
And slowly but surely, you start going back into what you're used to. You like being comfortable. And once you get out of that comfort zone, and you leave what is comfortable to you,
Right.
because doing wrong feels so right,
Right.
you'll see a real change.
Right.
Now, granted, I knew Christ, but I fell away slowly but surely without even noticing.
Right.
Then when I finally looked back, I was so far away, it felt like, why turn back now?
Right.
But then when I landed where I landed, it gave me time to analyze my entire life. And it told me it wasn't the action that got you where you are.
Right.
It wasn't that charge that got you where you are.
Right.
It's you falling away from God that got you where you are.
Right.
And this was his way of putting me in my wilderness to sit me down silently and feed into me what was needed.
Right.
Because for so long it was coming, but I was blocking it.
Right.
Not wanting to follow my purpose, not wanting to be what he saw in me, but wanting to be what I saw in me.
Right.
Because I want to be, honestly, I want to be bigger than what I was. Because as a child, I was bullied for so long, I wanted people to know who I was.
Right.
And I found it ain't about me.
It really is not.
It's not about me.
That to me is the big light on every person who gets it in Christ. You really understand. You know what? This is really not. Basically, I'm
That's
not
it.
the center of this thing.
Yeah.
I'm a part of it,
That's
but
it.
it doesn't rise and fall on me. It's
Not at
not
all.
about me. I'm just a part in this whole little thing, and I'm glad you found your way. I'm glad that you are here to tell someone out there there's hope. If
Definitely.
they're incarcerated,
Yeah, it's not over.
sit down.
It's not
have
over.
a plan. Have a purpose.
Literally,
to not
write
come
it
back.
out.
Write it out, and purpose in your heart to succeed. Because
That's
I
it.
think that's what happened with you. You purposed in your heart to succeed, and basically follow through with what you had said you would do.
I'm glad you said the way you said it, because we can put a lot of things in our mind, and we know how the mind is. Even though the heart is wicked, but that mind will play tricks on you.
It sure will.
Because when the two don't line up,
That's it.
you definitely be playing tricks on yourself. So you have to really purpose it in there. I mean, literally make it a foundation.
Right.
And only then can you really start a true path of getting it right.
Right.
You're going to stumble a few times.
You
It's
will.
natural.
But that happens even if you've never been to prison.
Yep.
But
You got to get up.
when you got that little extra strike against you, don't let that be the match that sets it on fire.
That's it.
Just say, you can still. Thank you for coming in and listening in on our little over the showtime conversation. Join us again at any other time at the YouTube channel. Meet me at the round table, and always catch us on WYBU channel 16, 6:30 Sunday evenings, not mornings, Sunday evenings, every Sunday evening, and be a part of what we're doing there. Until then, we'll see you next time.